rankled whenever they went out on ops that she couldn't join. "I wish you could come with us." She gave him a tight smile. "Well, I have every confidence in you. You're an excellent agent." He shrugged. "I learned everything I know from you." She nodded, not knowing how to respond. "Well, good luck to you. I've got a date tonight." She gave the words an air of finality. Their conversation was over. She tucked a folder under her arm and strode back to her desk, sincere in her faith that Mayer would be effective. "Hope you get lucky," he called after her. La Follette was a modern French bistro that played soft jazz in the background. It was the best of the French restaurants in Amsterdam, the sort of place one takes a woman to impress her. So far, Fleur had proposed ordering a bottle of wine and learned that this reasonably attractive redhead, Anouk, didn't drink. It was not an auspicious start. Fleur was well practiced at appearing cool. Beneath the table, however, her foot tapped away furiously. "Art thieves tend not to be like what people picture," Fleur was saying. "The gentleman thief, Thomas Crown, the night fox, that sort of thing. People always picture these nimble, debonair men, heirs to some fortune, stealing famous paintings to amuse themselves. The truth is, most art crimes fund the drug trade, the Russian mafia. Anyone sleazy and dangerous is probably funding some of what they do with art theft." Anouk seemed surprised. "But they must be clever, no? Like Ocean's 11? "No, most are just smash-and-grab affairs. For example, a version of Munch's The Scream was stolen from the museum in Stockholm some years ago by a group of 4 men with guns who burst in broad daylight and yanked the painting right off the wall. And dumber still, they were afraid the frame might contain a tracking device, so they tore it off in pieces, leaving a trail of frame fragments all the way to their getaway boat. There are few brilliant thieves, and almost no gentleman thieves." Art detective had a certain cachet to it that women liked to hear about. They always wanted to know what pieces Fleur had recovered, whether she'd shot anyone, and what kind of criminals she'd caught. She tended not to want to disabuse them of the notion that her work was sexy, even though much of it involved staring at catalogs and reviewing mind-numbing stacks of case files. "But what about that amazing Gustave fellow?" Fleur couldn't help souring at the mention of his name. Fabulous Gustave. Anouk fidgeted in her seat for an awkward moment. "I'm sorry, is he a sore subject?" "Well, we recovered the art at least. He slipped away, though, jumped into a canal in a scuba suit and was never seen again." He had sent her and Renata on a scavenger hunt through Amsterdam pursuing Vermeer's Lace Maker, and had gone so far as to place a forgery of it into a room at Katya's, a brothel in the red light district, with a little note saying, "You missed me, love G," slipped into the frame on the back. It was a damn good forgery, too. "I think I remember that. That was your case?" "Unfortunately, it was a disappointment. Renata never did get over it." That was only the first of a number of occasions where she mentioned her ex-wife's name. Fleur continued trying to keep the conversation going, to make the evening worth the trouble of leaving the house. They tried sports, politics, and literature, which all sustained for a little bit, then petered out. By the time they got around to movies, Fleur surrendered, picking at her plate of vol au vent and letting Anouk ramble about her favorites. She tuned back in when Anouk started talking about Pulp Fiction. "But I don't think it matters what's in the briefcase, you know? What do they call that? A McMuffin?" "McGuffin," Fleur supplied. "Right, a McGuffin. You're not supposed to know what's in the case because it doesn't matter. The story is really about what happens between the people involved in the chase." Fleur had tried to keep Renata's name out of her mouth, but it slipped out again. Renata was always convinced it was Marcellus Wallace's soul. After that...